Improvisation is like walking into the unknown, going into this empty space, and you don't know what's going to happen. And if you don't know what I mean, you could compare it like you're sitting in front of an empty piece of paper, and there's no preconceptions. So the funny thing about improvisation is that even for me, I've done it for a really long time now. There's always that, it's a little bit terrifying because especially when I perform on stage, and especially when I really go with nothing. There's many different forms of improvisation, but talking about I really don't have any subject and nothing. I go with nothing on stage. So, it is terrifying. It is terrifying to walk into this unknown space. But I tell you one thing, that's where all the magic happens. It's kind of like the greatest thing and the greatest gift improvisation can give to you. And that is not only referring to the improvisation I'm talking about, like walking on stage, but improvisation in life or in your art, is that you get to discover something about yourself you didn't know before, or that you get to discover a great idea, or that you surprise yourself. I so often came off stage and was surprised about what I did, because I had another idea and I did something completely else. And there's always, when that happens, there's always a sense of freedom and enthusiasm. It's like, maybe you boxed yourself into that little box and it feels like an opening. And so I really believe, I personally believe that if you really want to create original work, no matter in what field, actually, improvisation is the way to go. Because, we kind of, when we plan and when we have concepts, and don't misunderstand me, I do think that planning is important to a certain degree. We work with another sphere of our brain, and we usually kind of pull in ideas which we already know. So improvisation, I think, is a great tool for reaching out to newer things, to newer ideas. We want to get rid, especially in the field of creativity, I believe we want to get rid of all the preconceived ideas, because, been there, done that. I'm not saying that, I mean, in the end of the day, everything has already been there and been done, but you might have a new quirky perspective on it or something like that. So improvisation is that opening, because you dare to walk into that unknown empty space. As I've said before, it's playing with what is. And even though it sounds very easy and simple, I can tell you one thing, it isn't as easy and simple as it sounds. There's many obstacles which can get into your way. And, when I encountered improvisation, I was still very young. I was 19 years old. I was totally, I was kind of, I froze on the spot. I got into theater because I was in the Steiner School in Nuremberg, and we did theater every year, a play. But that was all, there was no improvisation. I never had heard of it. And I happened to walk along somewhere in Vienna where there was a group improvising, and they basically, in English, and my English wasn't so good at the time, and they basically dragged me on stage, and I just sat on the chair which was there, and I just froze, and I thought at that moment, this isn't for me. And then a couple of years later, I was studying, and I did a lot of theater, and there I got a proper introduction to improvisation, which was very physical, and I kind of learned to love it. and since then, improvisation was used to develop new material. And later on, I did a course here actually in Cornwall about solo improvisation, where you really can go with nothing on stage. So, you have your tools, like jazz musicians who improvise a lot have their tools and techniques. So it isn't as easy as it seems. I think the most important thing is obviously to be present. If you're already like with half of your mind anticipating what's going to happen, 5 minutes, even 5 minutes from now on, you're going to lose that inspiration. So it is very important to somehow find a way to be present. That's why movement, for example, is really great. If you don't know what to say, that's talking about performance again. You just move till you get an idea or an image or something like that. The other thing I want to talk about quickly is that if you get caught up in your inner critic, and if you give that too much attention, you're gonna get stuck. I mean, when I improvise, I do have sometimes that voice in my mind, saying that this is completely stupid. But it's kind of like I either need to act it out, or I need to really consciously decide to dismiss it and to do it anyway. So I think those two things, being really present in the moment and making a decision to not take your inner critic seriously, are the most important things for doing improvisation, and allowing it to be trivial as well. I did this 1 minute improvisations for Instagram for 100 days. And I basically just was talking about what was happening, or a minute isn't long either. And I tell you, sometimes it was very trivial, but the funny thing, there is some treasures sometimes in the so-called trivial things, little tiny treasures, and that's all what you need. So the moment you're kind of trying to be original, you can forget about it. Keith Johnson, I wrote a very good, it's called Theatre and Improvisation, where he talks about this, that it's about really catching the first idea which comes into your mind, instead of saying, oh, this is not original enough. And then you kind of edit yourself down to the third idea. And so it's about taking the seemingly simple or stupid things and just run with them and just have fun with them, and to do something different when you don't have fun with them anymore, but allow it to be simple and so-called trivial. You will be surprised what amazing things can come out of this. Yes, there's so much to improvisation, and who knows, maybe this is going to be a series at some point. But I just wanted to say that, that you can have a subject and improvise to that. That's totally valid as well. I've done it 1,000 times. I love going with nothing on stage. I love to have a subject. I love to have something quite developed and still have bits and pieces in there where I have some space to improvise. So I think improvisation, even if something is totally fixated, if an actor is doing a play and it's all fixed, you still have tiny little things, how you say things, which come down to improvisation. So if you learn this, you can use it really for anything, and you can use it if you are a planner and like planning, you can use it to make your plan come alive, and maybe to have maybe some gaps in there where you say, okay, I give myself this space so that something new can come, a new idea or whatever. So I really want you to to give it a try and see how that works. There's another book I also would like to recommend to you. I know it's probably the wrong way around, but it's called Freebie, Improvisation in Life and Art, and it's by Stephen Nachmanovich. And that's really, really good, a book which tells you a lot about improvisation. So before I gonna leave you now and bugger off, I just wanted to tell you that so these 101-minute videos I did, I'm gonna do a little series with it and edit them to 3-minute pieces, and I'm calling it Anya's World, and I'm gonna post one little episode on my Facebook page every week. And what else have I got to tell you? Yeah, that I have a wonderful new freebie, 50 Shades of Stuck, which goes into all the different ways we can get stuck, with little descriptions and wonderful sketches. And check it out. And if you sign up for it, you get it sent to your email. So that's it for now. Give it a try with the improvisation, and I talk to you soon. Bye-bye.